Hey, everyone. Welcome to the VO Boss podcast and the Boss Money Talk series. I'm your host, Ann Ganguzza, and today's show is a very special crossover moment. I'm joined by my regular Boss Money Talks co-host, Danielle Famble, financial strategist, voice actor, and the person who keeps our boss business brains sharp. Yay!
Yay! Hey, Ann.
Hey, and we're teaming up with the amazing Jennifer Clark, a powerhouse voice actor and the host of the Human Kindness at Work podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the power of giving, how it fuels mental wellness, strengthens our brand, and builds real community in the voiceover world and beyond. And we'll also be talking about 100 Voices Who Care, which is a charitable organization led by these two powerhouses that supports local communities by combining donations to impact local charities. So let's get into it, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey.
Thanks for having us, Ann.
Yeah. Yay. I'm very excited to talk to you guys about this because I think this is something that it exists, and every time there seems to be, let's say, possible issues in the community or people that need help, we get those GoFundMes. We get people who talk about donating to charities and stuff like that. And I think it's something that we need to really talk about more about how it can affect us in a positive manner and also how it can affect our businesses. So let's maybe start by talking about the psychology of donating and giving. And Jennifer, I know in your Human Kindness podcast, you, which is wonderful, by the way, guys.
Thank you.
You absolutely must tune into that. You talk to people all the time about giving and human kindness. And so what are your thoughts about, what are the benefits of giving?
Well, I'm not a doctor, but I can speak as someone who has been intentionally giving for most of my life. And as I'm talking to guests who are really active in their community and showing human kindness at work, what I see in myself and in people that I'm talking to is that it does something for our mental health. It's really easy to look at the world, especially right now, and you wake up every day and there's another crazy thing going on. The world is constantly on fire, and it's really easy to get depressed fast. I mean, that's the fastest ticket to depression, right? Just read the news. And we lose sight of all the really good things that are going on in the world. We lose sight of the really good people that there are. And so being a part of giving is like linking arms and finding all those people in your local community and the world at large that are doing the work. They're trying to bring change, and it's really uplifting. It's one of those things, I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of like when you're looking for something, when I wanted to buy a new vehicle, I had never seen anybody drive this vehicle. And then all of a sudden when I was like, I want a Volkswagen Atlas, I saw it everywhere, absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's the same with giving. When you look around and you're like, man, nobody's doing anything. Nobody's getting involved in my community. Nonprofits are suffering. But then you start getting involved, you will make connections like crazy, and you'll start seeing all of the good. And it is so uplifting. It really does change your perspective.
Oh, absolutely. I can imagine, because especially now, just with the craziness, as you mentioned, of the world, and there's a lot of times when I will open up my social media and then, oh my goodness, just start reading or the news, and I just start to feel hopeless.
Yeah.
And what can I do? What can I do, first of all, to feel, because it's making me feel bad and not like, I don't know, functional in a lot of ways. And I want to be able to help, and I don't know how to help. And I think this is one way that we can focus on something that can absolutely make a big difference in our lives and, of course, other people's lives as well. And to be able to connect with people who are doing good in the world, that gives me hope.
And I think sometimes we look at problems and it's so overwhelming and we think we have to reinvent the wheel. Like, oh, I got to start a nonprofit or fix the solution. There are already boots on the ground that are doing work. So making a difference giving of yourself, your time, your resources, your energy doesn't have to be hard. It's just a matter of finding something that you want to give yourself to, and don't reinvent the wheel. Just join into the good work that's already going on.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that. I think the quote is attributed to Mr. Rogers, or maybe Mr. Rogers did the quote from someone else, but the look for the helpers quote. I was speaking with a friend of mine who we were both sort of commiserating about what was going on in the world and how frustrating it is, with money being pulled from certain social organizations, and that's their lifeline. And she worked for one of those organizations, and she was like, we can get upset about it. We can get mad about it. We can feel hopeless about it. Or you can look for the helpers. You can look for the people who are out there, like you said, Jennifer, boots on the ground, doing the good work. And it changes your psychology to see, okay, these are the possibilities. This is what's out there. These are the people who are already doing the work. How can I help them? And when you can look at that and you can find that pattern recognition of people helping the helpers, then you can figure out how you can, put your hand behind the plow and do something too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, great points. Do you think that, what do you think are the things that stop people from either looking for this or from donating? And of course, I think one of the biggest things that people will say is, but I don't have any money. I don't have the money to donate. I can barely keep myself, surviving in today's world. What do you say to that?
I would say we have to look beyond just finances. Financial giving is really important, especially for local nonprofits. But we have so much to give. You have to look at yourself as a whole. So you have energy, you have time, which I think are your two greatest resources. And you have money, you have relationships. So looking at those 4 areas of your life, where can you give in those? Time, energy, money, relationships. And if you really are, I've been in times of my life, I am strapped for cash. My husband was unemployed a few years ago. Like, it was super tight. So I get it. There are legitimate times that you don't have any extra money, but you still have time, energy, relationships that you can give to. So I would say look at that whole picture, not just your pocketbook.
And what would you say options would be for somebody, let's say they're financially strapped at this point? Like, what sort of options are there out there? Just simple things that people can do to donate time or to donate their energy or their relationships. Because I love that you mentioned relationships too, because connecting with people who may have at the time the financial resources to help or other methods and sources to help is also a wonderful way to give back.
Yeah. Social capital is a huge one because you never know what that connection that you are making between two people or groups or organizations, what that will do and that will yield in their life. So that's a huge one. Even looking outside of the box. I was just reading a story about a woman who was at a park with her kids and noticed that there were some kids who didn't seem like they were being attended to by an adult. And instead of making an assumption, what she decided to do was essentially just take care of those kids for a little bit of time. And she was offering her time as a resource, as essentially childcare, and not making an assumption about what was happening with the parents or anything else in their situation. She was like, okay, I'm a safe place. I'm a safe person, and I can provide some respite for these parents who may be further away, who need a little bit of time away. And she did that, and that was her way of giving back. And when she was explaining it to me, or when she was explaining it and I was reading about that story, it's not something I think that people think about off the top of their head. Like, oh, this time that I have, or the ability to care is a resource. Like, do an inventory and an audit of what you've got, what you are willing to give, what you are able to give, and then figure out a way that you can creatively, if it's not financially, a creative solution that you can provide for people who need it.
Yeah, Yeah. I have a neighbor who literally just got an email this week. She typically in the summer she goes to the East Coast to stay in her home over there with other family, and she offered her home to a family who had just lost theirs in the fire in the recent fires in California, and a family that was a complete stranger to her. And she wrote us an email and said, "Hey guys, I'm offering my place for this family to stay for the month while I'm away on the East Coast, and they recently lost their home in a fire, and would you mind welcoming them, because not only did they lose their home, but they lost their community." And so I think that as a sense of community would be really wonderful if you could help welcome them. Yeah. And it was amazing to see the thread in that email, because all of us responded and said, "Oh yeah, come to happy hour on Saturday," or "Hey, we're playing bunco," or whatever it is. Come, I'll pick you up and take you over there and introduce you to everybody. And it was such a wonderful thing. And I thought, there you go. There's something that didn't really cost any money. Right. And it was something with the whole community getting together. It was just something really wonderful to see, especially I've had a stressful week, and to be able to all of a sudden get an email like that and then see the community come together and give. It just was really a wonderful thing. And I think, now I'm like, I want to start a podcast, and I want to be Jennifer Clark. I want to be Danielle, because I know you guys also are leading the 100 Voices Who Care, which we'll talk about in just a minute, because 100 Voices Who Care is a wonderful organization that was a longtime sponsor of the VO Boss podcast. So I'm excited to talk about that. So I love that we just came up with all of these ideas, because I think the number one excuse why people think that they can't give is the fact that they don't have any extra financial, support that they can donate.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about, so we've got a lot of benefits where it, first of all, it makes us feel good, right? We're helping somebody else. It can give us hope in a place, in a world that might seem hopeless at the time or just frustrating. So let's talk about, as businesses, how can giving help maybe our businesses? And I don't like to think that it's like, oh, I want to just help my business. It's not, I don't know if that's the foremost reason that I, want to give. But hey, if I am giving and I'm able to help others and I feel good about that, know that also it can positively affect our businesses as well. So Danielle, what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, there are so many ways that it can affect and help your business. One way, and we'll think about it from financially, because I like to talk about money.
Of course.
But when you can give to businesses, you can get some sort of tax benefit as well at the end of the year. So financially, if you're giving to a 501c3, you can write that off against your taxes at the end of the year in some cases. So that's one financial way that it can help, but also in the social capital as well. When you're out and you're meeting people who you can help or who you'd like to support, the organizations you'd like to support, it's a great way to meet other like-minded people and maybe other like-minded businesses. So, for example, I went to a fundraiser for one of the organizations that I enjoy supporting in my local organization, and I got to meet a ton of local business leaders, and they got to know who I was, and I was like the first voice actor they had ever met,
Sure.
which was an interesting conversation. So there are ways to meet other people and engage
Network.
in just community building, especially locally, because we are local businesses as well as global businesses doing what we do in
Absolutely.
Voiceover. But there's also a financial benefit too.
And isn't that honestly, isn't that one of the 101s of how do I get work in the voiceover business, right?
Yeah.
One is, okay, so we maybe try to join a roster, we try to get an agent, and then we'll go to your local chamber of commerce.
Right.
Think of this type of thing. Think of the possibilities of charitable donations in terms of networking, because it's all about the relationships. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the ways that we get and secure and keep jobs to keep our businesses alive and successful is through relationships.
Yeah.
And what better relationship, not only something that makes you feel good that you've done something to help somebody else, but also the possibility of maybe networking with people who can also support your business. I mean, Jennifer, I'm sure you've spoken to many people in your podcast also that have been able to help their business and or other local businesses. Talk about that.
Well, I'll give you an example. Someone that I interviewed a few months ago was a local nonprofit here in Kansas City called Foster Light, and they provide wraparound care for foster families. And I loved their mission so much that I was like, they had a gala coming up, a fundraising gala. And I was so compelled by their mission that I took my CPA's advice. She said, you need to start spending money. And so I sponsored the gala. And that was my first time doing that. But it was strategic because it was a mission that I loved and I was going to give to anyway. But I did it strategically so that then I'm advertising my business.
Right.
And I'm supporting a mission that I love. And I get networking opportunities. There was like for all the sponsors, there was like a meet and greet VIP happy hour beforehand. So I got networking and networking with like businesses, not just
Absolutely,
you know, a normal attendee. So it was threefold, and I thought, I'm going to keep doing this because it was beneficial to me on all fronts.
So I have to ask, your CPA said you need to spend some money, Jennifer. What was her reasoning behind that? And I'm pretty sure Danielle can answer that too, probably just off the cuff without knowing.
Yeah.
Why did you have to spend money?
I've had a really good year.
Okay.
And
I love it.
So I need to bring that taxable income
There
down.
you go.
There you go.
Yes. See, I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So lots of benefits. Not only mental.
Can I just jump
absolutely.
on that just for a second, because it's so important and good for you, Jennifer. That's wonderful.
Congratulations.
So really that happens. It happens, right? You have a wonderful year. You have a great year. And typically what we'll do as voice actors is, okay, great. We're going to go to voiceover conferences. We are going to support and we're going to make sure that we give to other voiceover events, maybe help with keeping the money in our community, which is wonderful. And it's a great, taxable tax write-off. I like to joke, I like business travel, right? I like to travel for business with these conferences and everything else.
Yeah.
But this is another way that you can have that same kind of effect financially for your business, but you're also doing good and networking in your local communities. And the idea, again, for businesses is to try to create profit, right? And so if you're networking with people who potentially could hire you for voiceover work or think of you for, connecting with other people, that's another way to help do good in the world, do a whole lot of good in the world, and do
actually,
good for your business.
If you don't mind, I want to tag team on that and say that a lot of times when I would go to the Chamber of Commerce, right, it was mostly other businesses just trying to hook up so that we could make money off each other. And it wasn't always as successful as I wanted it to be. But if you're meeting for another reason, if you're meeting at a charitable organization, you're meeting with people who are wanting to give or have the ability to give. And that's a completely different reason to have a good networking connection as opposed to let's just network because we want to try to get work from each other.
Yes.
So that is one big major difference. So I really feel like it can be advantageous or strategic to really get more involved with a charitable donation or
you're finding
that community.
You're finding like-hearted business people.
Yes, absolutely.
And those people are more likely to hire you because it's like, hey, we love the same mission. You're a giver. I'm a giver. Let's do business together. I would much rather do business with someone like that than some random business.
So here's something, because I know people, they feel timid if they don't have a lot to give, right? There's people, I mean, if you can give up your, everybody says if you can give up your Starbucks, right? One Starbucks a day, you're able to give. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to give back, but feels like they're not giving enough or it's too little and they're embarrassed? You know what I mean? And it's not like, oh, I'm not making a sizable contribution.
I mean, I'd say first of all, don't compare your giving to anyone else's giving. You really have to put your blinders on in life and run in your own lane. So whatever you're able to do, do that wholeheartedly. And don't compare your giving to Danielle's giving or my giving or Anne's giving. This is your life and your time, your money, your energy, your relationships. And you got to do what's right for you.
Yeah.
And measure it with your heart, right? Like your heart is to give no matter the size of the gift. Your heart is to do something good in the world. That's your intention. So the amount of money is really actually at that point, it's not really as important as the fact that you saw a need, you wanted to give something, and you gave of what you had, which could be a greater sum than the amount that someone else gave.
Sure.
So really look at that from a place of like, I'm giving everything that I have. This is all I've got to give. This is what I can afford to give if it's a monetary amount. And that is immeasurable. You can't measure someone's desire in that way. So look for where you can do the most impact with that amount of money, or just give it because that's what your heart said to give.
Yeah. And I think if we all just sit on our hands and use that as an excuse, like, well, I only have the $7 giving up my Starbucks this week to give. If we all just wait on that, then nothing happens. Change doesn't happen. So
Okay, possibly the elephant in the room, because, sometimes, like I said, people feel pressured, right? Sometimes people feel pressured to give. And then when there's a place to give where they see like, oh, so-and-so just donated $1,000. And then you might be looking at it going, well, I don't have $1,000, so should I put my name there? What are your thoughts on that? Name, anonymous? I think there's benefits and there's pros and cons to both, to be quite honest, I think. What are your thoughts?
It's really a personal choice. I mean, this entire topic, giving, is so personal because it's tied to your desire to do something good in the world and to help in a way that you are able to help. So if it feels right to you to put your name on it and say, this is what I gave and this is what I was able to give and I'm proud of that and I want to put my name on it, great. If you want to not have your name on it, I've given completely anonymmously because it felt like the right thing to do for me.
Yeah.
That was just the
Both
choice that I made at that time.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it please try not to, in this way, as Jennifer was saying, please keep your blinders on. Please understand that your reason and your why for giving is the reason to give, whether it's anonymously or with your name on it.
Yes.
And another way,
agreed.
even if you feel like maybe you're not giving a lot of money, whatever that number is for you, what you can do is you can team up with other people and combine your gift to make it a larger gift, which is what we do with 100 Voices Who Care.
What a wonderful segue into one of the reasons why I love this organization, 100 Voices Who Care. Talk to us a little bit about the organization. And I think it actually kind of just really leads itself nicely after the conversation we just had, because you don't have to give a lot, but together it makes a huge difference. So talk to us a little bit about 100 Voices Who Care. What's it all about?
Well, there are a lot of groups in the voiceover community that we join to get something, right? Like health benefits, VO workouts, accountability for your business, etc. Those are all wonderful and needed, but 100 Voices Who Care is a group that you join to give. We are a group of voice actors who are changing our communities through our collective generosity. So we meet once a quarter virtually. Each member commits $100 per quarter. And we also bring to that virtual meeting a local nonprofit that we want to nominate. And we choose 3 to 5 local nonprofits to members to pitch those nonprofits. We vote via the poll on Zoom, and then whichever nonprofit wins our majority vote receives the entire donation from all the members.
And so members will donate $100 per quarter, so that's $400 a year, and ultimately it can mean up to I believe $10,000. Is that correct? So collectively, right? If you have 100 people that are joined, it can mean $10,000 for that local organization that you want to support, which is amazing. Yeah. Oh, per quarter. Yeah. Thank you for correct me. I love my financial boss over there. Thank you. I love it.
Just keeping you in line.
Yeah, I love it, because you may think that your $100 isn't really doing a lot, but in reality, when you combine it with the the community. I mean, that is amazing. I mean, that's per quarter to help an organization. And that is something I think you can be proud of. And the fact is that not only are you helping a local organization to do good, but you're also networking with like-minded voice actors. So not only are you like-minded in your maybe in charities that you support or, you know, ideals that you support, but also your voice actors as well. So there's so many benefits to that. I mean, it's amazing. And I've always loved this organization. So I'm so glad that the two of you are heading it up. So how does it work? How can people join this organization? And are they tied to a year, or are they tied, you know, how does that work?
So the way it works basically is that we are open to any voice actor who wants to join our organization. We give through an organization or sorry, I'm blanking.
Third party.
Thank you. We give through a third party called Grapevine. So Jennifer and myself, as we are the leaders of 100 Voices Who Care, we're not touching any of the money. So you would join through Grapevine. We all get together, and Grapevine is the one who takes our $100. Grapevine also will vet the nonprofit that is the organization that we would give the money to as the donation.
Okay.
So we are not doing anything other than meeting, finding local organizations, pitching that organization to the greater group, 100 Voices Who Care. And Grapevine really takes care of all of the nitty gritty of keeping our money, sending it out, vetting the nonprofit to make sure that everything is above board.
I was going to say, I really like that they vet the organizations that you're giving to, because you vote, right? As a collective, you vote on who to give that money to. And so it may not have been your personal choice that maybe wins. And so you might feel like, well, you know, where's this money going to and what are they doing with it? So I really love that you have a third party that's vetting. And is there somebody that vets Grapevine? Do you know what I mean? Some people might have that question, you know, or talk about Grapevine. Have they been, I mean, has this been around? How long has this been around? How long have they been working with this?
I don't know the answer to that. We've been with Grapevine from our inception. So we started in 2022.
Oh, okay. So it's been a good number of years.
Them. Yeah. And we've always had a wonderful experience with them as far as that vetting process.
And they've got a great customer service as well. So we have reached out to them just to ask questions about how to better facilitate, you know, our group, or who we could be giving our money to. And they answer us within a day or 2 days. We've even emailed back and forth with the founder of Grapevine. So they've been wonderful to work with, and they've got great customer service as well.
So you've been doing this since 2022, is that correct?
Yeah.
So what are some of the organizations that have been helped by 100 Voices Who Care?
Well, our very first recipient was called the Grooming Project. Now they're called Prosperity, but they're here in Kansas City. I had the privilege of pitching them. They are my favorite nonprofit in Kansas City. And basically what they do is they're based here. They are the country's only nonprofit dog grooming school in the entire country. They have this really transformative program that breaks the cycle of poverty through extensive job training within this booming industry of pet grooming. So their students are usually society's most vulnerable. They focus on single parents living in poverty. And so these students not only learn the art of dog grooming, but they learn life skills like budgeting and parenting, emotional regulation, things like that. So once they go through this 2-year program, they graduate having a grasp on life, you know, and then they have this trade that they can make a real living in. So it is literal life change. And my dog groomer went through this this program. This is how I came to know Prosperity.
Love it.
She was in the first graduating class, and she was so successful that she managed the salon that they offer to the community at a low cost, so that students get an opportunity to work on their trade, and then it goes back into supporting this mission. But she managed that salon, and then she was so successful that she bought the entire salon with Prosperity's blessing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Took all of the workers with her with Prosperity's blessing, and she has this thriving dog grooming business in the KC Metro.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You know, she, prior to this program, she was working multiple jobs, single mom of 2, living in government housing. Her life is completely different. And now she hires Prosperity graduates in order to give back.
Oh,
so
I love it.
These are the kind of, when you're looking in your local community for a local nonprofit to bring to a 100 Voices Who Care meeting, these are the kind of things that you get connected to. This is, I see Christine, my pet groomer, every 6 to 8 weeks because I have a golden doodle and they need lots of grooming. But I'm in her life now. And there's just nothing like that, to be connected to people in your community, doing good work and giving back.
Love it. I love it. Yeah. So how can people sign up for 100 Voices Who Care if they're interested? I mean, do you have a period of time, a special time that they sign up? Because you say you're giving quarterly, so I assume that there's another quarter coming up.
Yeah, so we have meetings every quarter. Our next meeting is going to be on November 17th.
Okay.
And you can really sign up at any time, but the idea is that you would be coming to our next meeting. We ask that people are ready to pitch, and you would also be getting that $100. Grapevine would be debiting that money, and you can set up as a recurring payment through your credit card. But we ask that people are also, ready to pitch, but also bring a friend, because we want to grow this to the 100 voices so we can get to our $10,000 per quarter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, do the people that join, do you have to bring a local charity? Or if you're not familiar, I think it's great because I feel like you should research charities.
Yeah.
But if somebody maybe not have any preference, is it something that you take care of, or that's okay?
Yeah. So we ask that people research small local nonprofits. It does not have to be local to you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But we're just saying, Red Cross, St. Jude Research Hospital, they're doing great work, but they have huge donors, huge budgets. Everyone knows about them. So we want to find those nonprofits that are doing good work in local communities. So that can be anywhere. Yeah. But we do ask that you do a little bit of research. We have a really easy email template so that once you find that nonprofit, you just email our template, fill in the blanks, email our template off. And there are people at these organizations whose job it is to answer these questions. I think a lot of people feel like they're imposing, or they feel weird asking these questions, but literally there are people who are, doing applications for grants all the time.
Right.
They already have these answers ready to go. And this template that we've made just makes it so easy for you to create a pitch, a nomination out of that. We just ask that you do a little bit of research. We've made it as easy as possible and that you bring it to the meeting.
Great. Where do they go to sign up?
They can go to our Instagram. There's a link in our Instagram where they can go to sign up, and you just take it from there, and it'll take you to Grapevine, where you will sign up through Grapevine.
And bosses, I'll put that in the show notes for any of you. And of course, when we promote the show, which we will be doing heavily, we'll be putting that link in there as well. So, last question, guys: if a listener takes just one action after listening to this podcast, what would you want it to be?
Sign up for 100 Voices Who Care. Join us. Use your singular give to be with a collection of people who really want to do good in our local communities. And just join us with 100 Voices Who Care.
Yeah. Jennifer, because Danielle took yours, probably.
Yeah. Well, I would just piggyback off of that to say, if you're hesitant, if you're like, I'm not sure that I'm ready to commit, just come check us out. We welcome guests in our Zoom meetings. Just come see what our collective generosity is all about, what that looks like. The Zoom meeting is on our Instagram link. You can just click it and join. You be a fly on the wall.
So you don't have to be committed yet.
There's no obligation to join.
I love that.
You can just come, sit in, check us out, and then ask any questions that you'd like after that meeting.
Perfect. Sounds amazing. Well, you guys, it's been such a wonderful, wonderful episode with the two of you. Danielle, as always, my money boss, thank you so much for joining me again and for bringing 100 Voices Who Care to me, because Danielle asked me to bring you along, Jennifer, so we could talk about it. Because, yes, there are multiple benefits, as we've discussed in this podcast, for donating and for contributing to a community who can make a greater impact. And Jennifer, for those people that want to listen to your podcast, how can they do so?
Oh, thank you. Yes, it's called Human Kindness at Work. And you can actually go to my website, jennifersvoice.com/podcast, and check it out there. It's on all the major platforms and also YouTube.
Perfect. Awesome. And you'll be hearing more from Danielle and I as the months come up, because I'm not letting her go.
There's more money to talk about, for sure.
That's right. There's always more money to talk about. You guys, thank you again so very much. I'm going to give a great big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL. And of course, I'm going to tell you guys, please sign up for 100 Voices Who Care. It is an amazing, amazing organization. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.